The Xbox is a video game brand created and owned by Microsoft. It represents a series of video game consoles developed by Microsoft, with 3 consoles released in the 6th, 7th, and 8th generations. It has a worldwide market, and the original device was the first video game console offered by an American company after the Atari Jaguar stopped sales in 1996. It reached over 24 million units sold as of May 2006. On the other side, the PlayStation 5 is an upcoming home video game console developed by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Announced in 2019 as the successor of the PlayStation 4, it is scheduled to launch in late 2020. Welcome to Trending 10, and today we're going to be counting down our picks of the Xbox versus the PlayStation 5. If you guys play on the Xbox or PlayStation, make sure to drop a like on today's video. As well, don't forget to turn on our post notifications to never miss new videos from us. Alright guys, let's get right into the Xbox versus PlayStation. Why Xbox? A wireless controller system and network. No need to worry about tripping over the cords. The Xbox 360 offers wireless controls that operate in the 2.4 GHz frequency band. This is an optional component as not all the Xbox 360s include these controllers in the package. You can connect up to 4 controllers at once using the same wireless system. The Xbox 360 includes an Ethernet networking port that allows you to play and connect to your console and home from an online gaming experience for media purposes, such as playing video games and audio files from your PC. Microsoft also sells an 802.11 Wi-Fi wireless networking adapter that allows you to connect to a wireless network. Media Center capabilities. If you have a Windows XP Media Center Edition PC, you can use your Xbox 360 as a Media Center extender that will actually allow you to access the TV, music, and video functions of your Media Center PC over your home's wired or wireless network. So you could have your media stored on the Media Center PC in your home office and use the Xbox 360 to access and enjoy the media in your home theater. The Xbox 360 actually comes in 3 different versions. The Xbox 360 comes with a 20 GB hard drive and no HDMI cable. The Xbox 360 Elite is a fancier package with a 120 GB hard drive and an HDMI cable. And the Xbox 360 Arcade has no hard drive and no high definition cables. Neither component video or HDMI are included. You'll have to spring for the optional cables as it's the cheapest way to get into the world of the Xbox 360. The controller. For my money, the Xbox controller is definitely in its current form is the best on the market. A controller is a highly important piece of technology for gaming, whether or not you've always liked the system, and I've always preferred the Xbox controller to Sony's DualShock. For shooters especially, Halo, Call of Duty, and Gears of War, I got so used to the Xbox controller that I just couldn't do it as well on Nintendo or Sony system. That remains true to this day. Xbox Live. Microsoft has definitely gotten online right from the start. Xbox Live is the cornerstone of the Xbox brand, and you can still find it more reliable and easier to use than any other rival system. Given that literally every game is online nowadays, this is hugely important, and an area where Microsoft definitely shines and exceeds over other gaming brands. With that all said about the Xbox, let's get right into the ideas of the PlayStation. Why the PlayStation 5? The Bluray Drive. 7 months ago, an article was actually published, and what do you want in the PlayStation 5? And many people actually shared their suggestions about what they really don't want in the upcoming next-gen console. How unexpected can it go, really? People asked to remove the internet requirements, some even asked to exclude LCD requirement, but what people really suggested was a CD supporting console. When the PlayStation 3 launched, it actually had a Blu-ray drive that supports CDS, which is not very unexpected. But when the PS4 was released, it happened to not have any CD supporting software. Could this be the start of the end for the friendly disk drives? Sony might have thought that not using CDS in this digital era will work for people, but that's certainly not the case, as a lot of people actually asked for the CD supporting console. This is not something to be worried about anymore now, as Sony has revealed that the console will have 2 different versions, a digital version and one that supports CDs, i.e. the disk drive version. Competitor. We already know a lot about the PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox Series X, thanks to the recent articles and game reveals by both companies. Sony has announced to release their next-gen gaming console in late 2020, but Sony is not the only one who is releasing their product in these holiday season. Microsoft is also releasing the Xbox Series X at the end of this year. We already have details about the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Both of the consoles will actually deliver up to 8K resolution and high speed. What's going to be the end result of this comparison? What sets the Xbox Series X apart from the PlayStation 5 is actually their new feature of smart delivery, according to which you will get a copy for Xbox Series X if you buy a game on the Xbox One. What are your opinions about this comparison? PlayStation 5 design. According to the images and video released during the PlayStation June event, both of the PlayStation 5 models will look essentially the same, with the only aesthetic difference being one console having a CD drive. But neither of these consoles actually look anywhere close to the numerous leaks and concept renders that we've seen in the past. It is definitely a sleek looking console with a lot of curves and futuristic looking design. While the PlayStation 5 looks great standing up, it'll also be able to lay horizontally. The processor and RAM. PlayStation's lead system architect Mark Cerny confirmed that the new console would actually have an 8-core CPU based on AMD's 7nm processing and will be similar to the Zen 2 Ryzen PC processor. The custom chip will actually feature 8 Zen 2 cores clocked at 3.5 GHz, and in terms of memory, it'll also be supported of 16 GB of DDR6 RAM, with 10 GB running at 560 GB per second and 6 GB at 336 GB per second. Its GPU is to be based on AMD's Radeon microarchitecture and will support ray tracing, which will be hardware rather than software led. It'll be capable of a huge 10.28 teraflops compared to the Xbox X's 12 teraflops, and features 36 custom cores clocked at 2.23 GHz. Some reports also claim that the PlayStation 5 will be compatible at 4K 120Hz gaming, with resolutions reaching 8K quality sometime in the future. Storage is provided by a solid-state drive rather than a traditional hard drive tech used in the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, which will be loading games and pulling assets in game much faster. The storage size will be less than 1 TB that will be provided with Xbox Series X and will be set at 825 GB. Presumably, this is free space on a 1 TB drive. The data speeds are also impressive at 5.5 GB per second raw, but typically 8 to 9 GB of compressed data. The included storage of 825 GB storage doesn't seem like quite a lot when you consider that the PlayStation 4 Pro Enhanced has games that take up more than 100 GB apiece. The Xbox versus PlayStation 5 comparisons. First, let's take a look at the hardware involved. There doesn't seem to be a tremendous difference between the CPUs, although the Xbox Series X is slightly faster. The GPU processing power is 10.03 teraflops for the PlayStation 5 and 12 teraflops for the Xbox Series X. A teraflop actually refers to how many operations per second a piece of hardware can actually handle. But remember, just because a GPU offers 12 teraflops of computing power, that doesn't necessarily mean that every single game will take full advantage of them. It also really depends on how well the game is optimized. The PlayStation 5's design is definitely different. Revealed at the PS5 Game Showcase on June 11th, the PlayStation 5 looks like a rounded black rectangle surrounded by 2 white fins that almost converge into a downward triangle pattern. Notably, the PlayStation 5 will also be available in 2 different conversions, like we said, a standard version with a disc drive and a digital edition without one. Naturally, you'll be able to play physical titles on the former, but not on the latter. The price between the 2 models is definitely vast as a result, but so far we haven't had any confirmation on the actual PlayStation 5 price. It'll be difficult to say which console looks better until we actually get to see them side by side in a physical space. For the moment, the Xbox Series X looks more traditional, while the PlayStation 5 looks more experimental. Which one you prefer will definitely depend almost entirely on your own aesthetic preferences. Microsoft has actually promised that every single Xbox One game will be backwards compatible with the Xbox Series X. Furthermore, Microsoft's smart delivery system ensures that if you buy an Xbox One game that's also available on the Xbox Series X, you'll automatically get the Xbox Series X version once you upgrade your console. Additionally, a handful of select Xbox 360 and original Xbox games will also work on the system. And we can imagine that if an Xbox 360 or original Xbox game currently works on the Xbox One, it'll definitely work on the Xbox Series X. Sony's approach is actually a little less concrete. PlayStation 5 will use a sort of universalized software to run PlayStation 4 games on the PS5. Games that were optimized for the PlayStation 4 Pro will still have their enhancements in place, but because the software is sort of a catch-all application, not every title is guaranteed to work equally as well. Sony has actually stated that most of the top 100 PlayStation 4 games will actually run well on the PlayStation 5 so far, and actually should be available for launch with the console. This selection will definitely be a little speculative, as neither Microsoft nor Sony has actually outlined exact plans for their game streaming services on next-gen consoles, but both companies do have cloud gaming infrastructures in place, and it's silly to think that they would toss all those resources out the window by the end of the year. Well guys, that is going to conclude today's video of the Xbox versus the PlayStation 5. Which console are you guys most excited for? Leave a like if you guys are going to get the Xbox or the PlayStation 5. As well, don't forget to turn on our post notifications so you never miss new content from Returning 10 when it goes live on the channel. Alrighty guys, with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video.